I can't think of a more devastating power than being able to detect lies. And then having a love story based around you finding out the deepest, darkest secret of your love interest and having to reconcile with that. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart podcast, and today I want to talk briefly about My Lovely Liar, the new K-drama that's currently airing, I believe on Netflix, but probably other places as well. I won't get into that. I have just watched the sixth episode of this K-drama today, and it has a really interesting premise. I don't know if it's based off a webtoon. It seems like such a cool premise that it feels like it's based off of one, but I haven't looked into it that far yet. And this is going to have some spoilers, so buckle up if you want to be completely unspoiled. I'm sorry, but I do want to talk about it a little bit because after the sixth episode, it kind of gave me the feels, you know? It starts off with a young girl who, from very young, from basically childhood, had this ability to detect lies from people. And it doesn't matter how big or how small the lie is, if it's a little white lie, if it's a lie that you've done in the name of good. Like there's a scene early on the show that I really thought was moving, that a mom and her daughter were having a meal together, and they obviously were from middle to lower class and they didn't have a lot of funds, and it was just down to the last bite of food. And the mom was like, no, I'm full, you have it, baby. And then the girl back to her mom like, no, mommy, it's okay, you can have the food. And this character is able to detect that they're both lying. Even though it's not a malicious lie intent, it's still a lie. So she's grappled with having to deal with that day in and day out, and pretty much has a stance of she's not going to fall in love, she's not going to date anyone because it's burdensome. And then we are also meeting her love interest, who is a world-class music producer, and he writes and he produces some amazing music, and he currently works in-house for a record label and is basically producing this super famous K-pop star who has a lot of issues internally, and he himself has a really dark past, and we learned early on through the show that he's connected to the murder of his girlfriend or past girlfriend. And we're shown through flashbacks that she was very emotionally abusive and very emotionally manipulative. But the way she died was really mysterious circumstances, and her brother is like set out for revenge against him, and he ends up having to kind of hide in secret, and he makes this escape to Seoul and becomes this massive producer, and he pretty much hides his identity and is very, very socially awkward and very, very isolated. And by a chance encounter, they end up living in the same condo complex, and the kind of story just kind of takes off from there. And the lead character and her love story in the past is also interesting because there is like a second lead male as well, who is a police officer, and I have a feeling that he's going to come into play much later on in the show. And she basically opened up her heart to this guy and found out through a lie that he actually didn't want to marry her, and she thought like he was the one, and it obviously devastated her and broke her spirit, and now he's kind of resurfaced into her life as well. And I just find that the show does a lot of interesting things at once, and I kind of like the idea of having a show with two very awkward people who have very awkward circumstances come together with the help of like a supernatural element, like having the power to detect lies, and how burdensome that can be. Now, I hinted in the cold open for this podcast that she learns of a deep, dark secret of his, and it's revealed to the show because of the mysterious death of his girlfriend, that he believes that he is responsible for her murder, but it doesn't look like it's that. I think it's a lot more convoluted than that, and it's going to probably reveal itself more as we go forward. So I'm 6 episodes in, and episode 6 was really a rocky roller coaster because there is this massive climactic scene between the lead and her mother, who is horrible, just like an awful woman. But we don't know what her mother's relationship was with her father, because the father left very early on. So the mother has had to make ends meet and is a very unscrupulous person and likes to con and deceive a lot of people for money. And the daughter has just become really weary and worn down, and the toxicity in the relationship with her mother is really brutal. And they have this big confrontation because one of her day jobs, the lead character, is basically being like a private investigator for people. Like, people hire her, and specifically they want to use her power as a service to suss out whatever dealings that they have if the person that they're dealing with is lying to them. And she obviously gets paid very well for this, which is something that her mother throws back in her face constantly. And there just happens to be an incident where in the 6th episode that the mother has hitched herself up to a very wealthy man who's a lot older, who has 2 daughters. And one of the daughters in particular is very suspicious of the mom, very suspicious, and hires the daughter as someone to suss her out and think, and just to see if her mom in fact is in love with the dad, which of course she's not. She just wants a bag. She wants money. And if she was to marry this guy, she would be very, very well off. And now the lead character, she has this conflict of interest. She's hired to do this job. She can't let them know that that woman is my mom, but she also has her integrity, and part of her business and it being successful is that she's true, that when she hears a lie, she's telling you that, yeah, the person's lying to you. So she ends up completing the job anyways, and the mom loses potentially an amazing resource. And they have this big blowout scene, and she directly asks her mom, "Do you love me?" And the mom cannot answer that, and basically destroys the place that they have this big confrontation, which also happens to be another job that she has. She runs like this tarot card reading shop with her friends. And her love interest just happens to be walking by in the neighborhood and sees this kind of take place and go down. And it's very, very brutal. And I think the actress does a really wonderful job in just showing the heartbreak of it all. She doesn't expect any better from her mom. She truly believes her mom hates her and is scared of her and her existence because of this power. But yet she still has that yearning, like most kids would. Even if you absolutely despise your lineage, there's a part of you that still wants to be accepted. And it's just so crushing and brutal. And then she's comforted by the lead actor. And it's just really beautiful to see. And I just find the whole premise of it really fresh as far as K-dramas are concerned. And there's a lot of other moments that I really like as well, where she's picking up on lies in different circumstances, and sometimes it just shows like the complicated nature of human beings, that you're not always lying to be deceptive or to screw someone over. There are times where you feel that you have to lie to protect someone's feelings. You have to lie in order to save your life. You have to lie in order to show an act of kindness. And I like that the show explores that really early on in these first 6 episodes. And I'm really curious as to how this relationship is going to develop between the 2 leads, because her love interest has so many dark secrets, and the fact that he feels guilty for the death of his girlfriend and how they're going to resolve that. 'Cause I don't believe he's the murderer. I don't think they would make the hero of the story fall in love with someone that would murder someone in cold blood. The way that the show has foreshadowed and set everything up so far, it's not going to be him. But I'm just kind of curious how this all ties together and how their relationship blossoms, because they have really good chemistry. A lot of their key moments together are in this really beautiful jazz club, and I love the backdrop of jazz music being where it centers the couple. And just the whole lighting of it, just the whole movement of the club is really intriguing to me, and even like the owner of that jazz club has a friendship with the male lead and seems to have a soft spot for the female lead as well, and that's just really enjoyable to kind of take in addition. So that's kind of my short babble review of My Lovely Liar so far. I think there's good chemistry. I think the storyline is really intriguing, and I have a feeling this is going to throw some darts here and there, and it could just go completely off the wire. But I'm really enjoying it so far, and I've had a good streak. You know, there's been a few K-dramas that I've been really invested in, and I feel like summer 2023 has been really great for bringing on some like fresh new K-dramas to the scene. So I'm going to continue to look forward to it unfolding. Anyways, this is going to conclude the episode today. I want to thank you for watching. If you're watching this via YouTube, if you're listening via Spotify, I appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, please leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts about My Lovely Liar so far, or any other new K-dramas that you're checking out. I would love recs. And please thumb up, subscribe, and if you're on Spotify listening or watching as well, please 5 stars. Anyways, that will conclude it. Thank you. Bye.